Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Commissar here, and today I have another 1 vs 1 Starcraft 2 ladder game for you, again featuring StarNaN, our Western Wolves Swedish Protoss player. He is spawning in the bottom left-hand side of GSL Daybreak today, and his opponent is none other than Team Evil Genius's IdrA. IdrA, of course, our blue Zerg spawning in the top right-hand side of the map. Okay, so today we do indeed have IdrA, our clear favourite to win today, obviously playing for EG, now sponsored by Raidcore, and the cool thing about IdrA is that recently he's been doing a decent job. He won a few good games in MLG, but the main thing that he did recently was WCS America, which was his main focus for the MLG weekend, as he stated in interviews, and he did indeed come third in the WCS America, losing to Vibe, who beat him in order to go into the finals against Scarlet, who would then take the win. So yeah, Scarlet winning WCS, but IdrA coming third and still taking home, I believe, around about $4,000. I think 3,600 was the number. Not quite sure, but about that sort of money was what IdrA took home, which is pretty decent. It's respectable, and while it isn't breaking EG's curse of seeming to lose everything, it's a start. Meanwhile, StarNaN, getting confused with someone else. StarNaN plays for the Western Wolves. He is from Sweden. He is a Grandmaster player, and tournament results, like I said in his Safano game, not the best at the moment. He has qualified for DreamHack. He made the round of 64, which does mean being first or second in group stage twice in both of those events. So in the last two DreamHacks he did indeed make the top 64, but he did indeed not actually get further than that. Notably beating Cloud in one of those events, but he did lose to Keen. He lost to another fellow who I forget, and yeah, overall, he's done okay. We do indeed see the probe basically really annoying IdrA, denying that expansion to the point where IdrA's decided that he isn't going to put up with it, but is rather going to just basically take the third first. It's fairly common to do this, but of course it is leaving you vulnerable to attack, and it means that you have to get to 3 bases straight away. Of course, IdrA may have planned to do that anyway. You'd assume so, and it is a fairly common response to go for that third base location straight away. We'll have to wait and see if he is just able to easily secure this natural or not. You'd assume so, but StarNaN is indeed just going to go back to base with this probe, wondering if he's going to try and block it, but not much point with Ling's already out on the map. And yeah, so it looks like IdrA will be safe and would be probably wise to throw down his third right about now at that natural location. Meanwhile, for StarNaN, we do indeed see the natural completed. We do indeed see nothing particularly remarkable going on. This Overlord will not die, I believe. Yeah, definitely shouldn't die. Although, apparently, yes, it won't die. 1 hit left. And yeah, meanwhile in the base of StarNaN we do see remarkably little other than what would be expected. And of course, Daybreak is a decent map for taking a third base on quite quickly as a Protoss player. The third base over here has a nice little choke over here, well not little, but easy to wall off choke. So it is very easy to do 3 base plays as either race, Protoss or Zerg, and I tend to consider it a fairly balanced map. Over here we do indeed see a very open 4th base, the safer 4th actually being at the top side, which is again easy to defend but is a long stretch to go out to take. Can be a bit tricky for a Protoss to take it without walls. Generally for a Zerg, a more mobile building Zerg, it can be, yeah, it's really a matter of personal preference whether you take this 4th or this 4th, and yeah, it's not a big deal. It's generally easy to get up to 4 bases. Not so much 5 bases, but yeah, 4 base play is very common. We do indeed see a cannon rush on this natural expansion of IdrA, the actual third base for him, and what's interesting about this is that we see remarkably few units on the field for IdrA, and you can see 8lings in production here, trying to pull drones here, but despite it being the 6-minute mark, and despite him having his pull done for ages and queens on the field, he doesn't actually have anything up to deal with this cannon rush. You can see even cancelling those pylons, StarNaN very confident that his cannons will complete, and indeed it looks like they will. The first one is up already, throwing down a total of 4 cannons, a big investment here. So really, if StarNaN doesn't get this natural, it will be a bit of a waste for him. 1 cannon going down already, but we do indeed see a 4th, another one going down. Sorry, another cannon being built, and as another one goes down as well. Another cannon here with the Zealot to support this queen. It looks like it will go down here in just a moment. The drones are actually blocking it from escaping. It does die. This queen over here could be focused down too by the cannon if he micros it well, and he's trying to, but goes over a little bit too late to it. This cannon, of course, looks like it will do the trick, and gets the queen, and gets the lings, and a total of 1 worker has been killed, but a ton of lings have been killed. Unit sus tab does favour the Protoss player at this stage, and even cancelling a cannon back there, realising that he has enough already with these two going up. And yeah, even having 2 pylons here, can't get Artosis, no Artosis pylon, he's completely safe. And IdrA is probably just going to move on and expand somewhere else, and it looks like, yep, taking a third base, well, kind of a fourth, but really it's going to be his third mining base that appears over at the 4th location in the middle of the map. So StarNaN already off to a really good start here. Of course it'll upset IdrA, as IdrA likes to be upset by cheesy players, and even though this is so common to see, cannon rushes on naturals, IdrA's still probably going to be pissed off. Meanwhile, over in the base of StarNaN, we do see that everything is very delayed as a result of that cannon rush. He is indeed about to move out with a 4-gate pressure, I believe. Yeah, +1 attack is done, actually. +1 armor is on the way. So it will be a +1 4-gate, very common build, but what's not so common about it is the timing, which is going to be very slow. What's cool for StarNaN is that his proxy pylon can just be over here. He already has a proxy, can warp in there if he chooses to. Although, that said, of course, the lava of IdrA can scout this area out, and he will indeed be able to see any warpings that do occur. You can see a proxy being built over here, and I'm not sure if IdrA can see it. If you go to his vision, yes he can, so IdrA can indeed see this and will clear out this proxy, and basically that means that this is probably going to be the proxy location used by StarNaN. Over in the main base of IdrA, we do indeed see a Zealot of StarNaN's, and it is indeed going to harass this queen, but by no means kill it. Importantly though, the roaches are seen. StarNaN is aware of this threat, and appears to not be actually going to move out with this 4-gate, is going to have 5 sentries out on the field, and appears to be looking to maybe secure his 3rd base. Like I said earlier, as soon as you get that wall in over here, it's very easy to sit on 3 bases as a Protoss on this map. Very comfortable map to play on as a Protoss in general. Over here we do indeed see IdrA, with no upgrades yet done for his units, I believe. Yeah, 0 upgrades, we do have the Zergling speed on the way. But other than that, appears to be going very, well, macro-oriented style, I suppose. His drone count isn't super high, he has had to pump out quite a few units, and he does have a big wave of roaches here, but I feel like this is more of an offensive play by IdrA. He is running up behind it. So yeah, he just wants to clean out the cannons, well, really clean out the pylons, then move on to a position from which he can take his own natural back as what will be his 4th base, and then basically from there go on to play out a normal match. You can see the +1 armor starting, which is of course a good upgrade to get. If you plan to have a mix of melee and ranged units, as it does help them both, and we do indeed have the roach speed on the way, so we'll have to wait and see what IdrA does throw at us. At the moment it could be literally anything. With the roach focus, yeah, it could really be anything, I wouldn't say too much. So the macro hatchet is also down for IdrA, and the infestation pit is on the way, so it will be Infestor. It appears he's going straight for the Infestor, probably into Broodlord straight after that, and he will go straight for that late game composition. Meanwhile, for StarNaN, the 3rd is going down uncontested, with this gateway wall-in probably going to be completed. Most players do like a full wall-in at this base, and just a little open spot here and nowhere else. That way you keep your army at the wall-in and this little opening here, and the wall-in will hold long enough for you to send your army down there if anything does happen to it. Meanwhile, we will see a Ling run by though. There are cannons, although the Lings do have an open spot in the wall here, but it is going to be a back out from IdrA. And you're just scouting around, making sure that that 4th isn't taken, and he gets that information and also decides that it's too late to harass that 3rd base, so probably should have sent those Lings in a little bit earlier, but again, it's not the biggest deal as IdrA is not hurting by any means. Supply-wise, he's ahead. How much of that is roaches? Not too much, 36 supply of its roaches, and really overall the supply isn't too inefficient of IdrA's, a lot of it into those queens and drones, and really IdrA's in a pretty good spot right now. He's starting to throw down his spines, and of course they will be not up in time for the Sentry Immortal play here, but the Infestors are already on the way, and as soon as they're out, the Sentries get so heavily weakened, so it will just be a matter of delaying for IdrA until those infestors are out, and then he should be able to repel this attack. He may lose the space, but it looks like with these spines having to be killed off first, that IdrA should be okay depending on where those infestors are spawning from. Meanwhile, a very quick hive is about to finish for IdrA, so if he holds this off, he'll be in a very good spot in terms of his tech. He does indeed have queens at the front too to help out, and it looks like StarNaN, does he see the infestors? Not yet, but he will see them now, and he will get fungals, I believe, and we are not going to see him commit here. Decides to back out after seeing those infestors, and quite a good choice, I'd say, as, of course, this composition of IdrA is starting to get a little bit scary. What will be very, very scary, of course, is the Broodlords coming out. And they could be coming out very, very quickly as the Spire is almost done, 10 seconds away. Then you have about 2 minutes until Broodlords, a bit longer than that. And at that time, you need Colossi, Mothership, Archons, some anti-air, that sort of thing. You need all of that stuff, ideally, to deal with Broodlord Infestor. And at the moment, StarNaN is looking like it'll be a bit strange to get it out in time. Of course, we'll have to wait and see when that Stargate does get thrown down. But for the meantime, IdrA is in his comfort zone for the time being, despite the early cannon rush, and we do indeed see some harassment attempts at the top side of the map here. A Warp Prism trying to come over here and do some damage. Meanwhile, we are of course seeing the army move out here, clearing out creep. Also perhaps distracting IdrA, but no, IdrA on top of this attack is indeed going to be able to clean it up very, very easily indeed. At the front, the creep has been cleared a little bit, but no major engagements have taken place. The Greater Spire, of course, is still in the way, about a minute away at this stage. Double upgrades continuing on for IdrA, and is he at an upgrade advantage? He's about to be at 2-2, compared to what will be a 2-2 of his opponent. Well, 3 attack rather, 1 armor. So yeah, if anything, the upgrades probably favour the Protoss, as the Blinkstalkers especially, attack is a lot more important than armor. Of course, as soon as those Archons come in, you'd want to have those shield upgrades. But yeah, attack is also great for the Archons, whilst armor isn't, and really shields is. So StarNaN upgrading very well, probably a little bit ahead in that regard for the time being. And until that 3-3 for IdrA hits, he will be in a pretty good spot in terms of his army strength upgrades wise. Of course, the third Colossus is on the way for StarNaN. 3 tends to be the magic number for Colossi in dealing with Broodlings, and meanwhile the first 5 Broodlords are on the way somewhere on the map. Not entirely sure where that is. Interestingly enough, the hive for IdrA is actually at the 3rd base down here. Very, very surprising, as it does have more health, the hive, but this is a very easy to drop location. Now it's not that this base over here is down, the 5th. But before it was down, it would be a little bit vulnerable to those Warp Prisms. And speaking of Warp Prisms, there is a Warp Prism in the main base of IdrA, dropping off 4 Zealots and getting out of there alive. What'll it go for? The Spores, a bad choice actually, with all those attacking those Zealots. And oh, a fairly poorly managed drop there by StarNaN. Meanwhile, we do see a maxed out Soak player against a far from maxed out Protoss player. Mothership just starting right now, and I feel like this is the time for IdrA to push if he is to win this game right now. So he is going to go in here and clear out these rocks, and he appears to be looking to push just as I'm suggesting he should. He does indeed have the Mothership on the way, the Protoss player, as well as A level 1 and some Void Rays, but right now, all we have to deal with this army is 19 Blinkstalkers and 1 Void Rays in terms of anti-air. Then we have Broodling Killers, and basically Infest a Broodlord with a good fungal growths on those on the Blinkstalkers if they're fungals. This army of the Protoss should melt until that Mothership is out, at which stage it could be anyone's battle. Over here we do see the space being harassed by 4 Zealots, and it might even go down here. It'll be close, but no, not focusing down that hatch, instead going for those Lings. Possibly a mistake there by StarNaN, but I don't know, the hatchery probably wouldn't have fallen. It might though fall to the DTs that are coming to try and finish the job, and oh, it does indeed fall. And of course, these DTs going to get a few more free Ling kills. Over here we do see Creep Tumors being cleared out by DTs. In the main base, a DT drop is taking place, getting all 4 of, and dying that Warp Prism is. And we do indeed see the detection over here. Transfuse is going to save this infestation pit, and it's going to be just fine for IdrA. The big problem is this base, which is being rebuilt straight away, although it was completed, so it is a little bit of a loss here. More DTs though are being cleared out, and overall, with the number of DTs that went down, that was a ton of money. That was well over 1,000 resources, and it didn't achieve a great deal. It got 1 hatchery that wasn't even mining, and it looks like 2 more are going to go down for 1 Infestor. Not the worst trade in the world, but again, it's not that efficient. But what is efficient is that play distracted IdrA, who's got his infestors way out of position, and most of them are dead already. The Stalkers, though, will they escape? They are so vital to the army of StarNaN. It looks like some of them will indeed escape. The Corruptors, though, are going to kill off those Void Rays and those Colossi, and IdrA is going to push all out here right now. Over on the units tab, we will indeed see that the mothership is indeed finished for StarNaN. That energy is so crucial, and it does not have energy for a Vortex yet, so StarNaN has to stall for time until he can get a Vortex out, preferably getting some Archons in too, but that looks unlikely at this stage. The Colossi being cleaned out, but oh, the mothership is indeed being used for its cloaking here to ward away those Corruptors. His Void Ray is going to fall, further reducing StarNaN's army, but the problem for IdrA is no infestors and a very small roach count, so if more Stalkers get warped in, they could get under those Broodlords and kill them all. In fact, that might be what we're about to see, as StarNaN has so many Stalkers and IdrA has so little on the ground. Lings are streaming in to try and prevent this from happening, but there's the Vortex getting almost every single Broodlord. The mothership does go down, but Lings are being melted by this Colossi, by these Stalkers. And oh, these Broodlords are as good as dead inside that Vortex. They are indeed about to pop out, and they will all die very quickly to focus firing here. Infestors going down, Corruptors killing the Colossi, but so what? IdrA has nothing left on the ground and no more Broodlords on the field. And despite having enough money to remax out on Roaches and potentially survive here, IdrA does indeed leave the game. So 47 lava and leaving like that. I don't think he should have left straight away. I mean, he had enough money for quite the number of Roaches, about 20 in total. And 20 Roaches, that would have been enough to equal the supply of StarNaN? I don't know, he did have the Corruptors for Colossi, so it would have just been a matter of Stalker, Archon, or Mortal versus Roaches. And he probably, maybe could have held those Spines with Transfusers. I don't know. Either way, the economy was in the favor of the Protoss, actually, due to some DT harass going on during that over at this location, reducing IdrA to a total of, what, one base over here, one base over here, and a harvester count of 61. Moving around those drones a little bit from, say, the main to over at the natural over here could have helped the income a little bit, but overall he was behind, and it was indeed due to that one play over here where all of the infestors died, I believe. I think that's the difference, because if there were infestors in that last battle, the Stalkers wouldn't have been able to do much. They would have just been whittled down in health and held back from blinking under the Broodlords, and even with the Vortex, infestors could have saved the day here. Of course, though, it is going to be a win for StarNaN against IdrA, and I'm sorry to bring you another IdrA loss, as people do complain that most casted IdrA games tend to be IdrA losses, but I hope you will be content with this game not being a simple 5-minute game, but somewhat interesting. Okay, so that is all from me for today. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I will indeed be uploading content over the next couple of days, so please stay tuned for more. And please, if you like this content, like my Facebook page, like my Twitter page if you prefer that, as I post on both of them whenever I make a video of any kind. Also, you can always subscribe to actually get the same effect. And that's about all from me for today. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on another